Welcome, welcome. You listen to 360 Info. I'm your host, Antonio. To manipulate history is to manipulate consciousness. And to manipulate consciousness is to manipulate possibilities. And to manipulate possibilities is to manipulate power. Welcome, welcome. We got a little overcast out here as far as the weather is concerned. We might be taking a little dip there. But don't fret, y'all. Don't fret. You know, we're getting close. We're getting close. Just hang on in there. Yeah, hang on in there. We got a great show for you today. And also remind you guys about the June events coming up. We got several events coming up in June. And we're going to end on the 25th, the last Saturday in June, with the Emoja Freedom Day Festival. So y'all get prepared. You want to be vendors or be a part of it, give me a call. You know the number, 216-323-6155, 216-323-6155. Got a great show for you today in the remote studio. I got my main man, Brother Vince. What's going on, Vince?
Well, it's 43 degrees outside and partly cloudy, and I think there are folks probably down at the stadium to watch a Guardians game today, and they're wondering, hey, where is spring? Well, it's here. It just ain't quite there temperature-wise, but you know, hold your breath, and in another 20 minutes, things will change. You are correct. We do have a great show lined up for you today. We have a couple of guests. Actually, we have on deck Dr. Charles Modlin. He's going to talk to us about the Minority Men's Health Fair that's going to take place on Thursday at 3 separate campuses for MetroHealth. And we also have Ibn Alameen Ali. He is a brother that is versed in the financial world, and he's going to be sharing some information with you to get you on track to develop and cultivate generational wealth. Before we get to our guests, I just want to let you know about something that is coming up in a few weeks at Larchmere Arts. Actually, it is going to be next Saturday. We are going to have a $100 Neo-Soul Poetry Slam. So if you got a couple of poems in you and you want to come in and compete, you can walk out the door with $100, and hopefully you'll take that $100 and invest it wisely. Also, Vince Robinson and the Jazz Poets will be appearing at Rudy's Pub this coming Sunday. That's the 24th, not tomorrow, but we'll be at Rudy's Pub for a free event. So you can get your tickets for the Neo Soul Poetry event by going to THASOULPOET at Cash App. That's $THASOULPOET. It's only $10 to get yourself in the place and get a spot on the roster to compete for that $100, and you can show up at Rudy's for free. With all of that said, let's welcome to 360 Info Network. His name is Dr. Charles Modlin. He is no stranger to Cleveland. He has been associated with the Cleveland Clinic for years, and now he is at MetroHealth, and they are staging the Minority Men's Health Fair coming up on Thursday. Welcome to 360 Info Network, Dr. Charles Modlin.
Thanks for having me. It's really my pleasure to be here and with your listening audience. The health fair's coming up. It's actually Thursday, April the 28th, 2 Thursdays from now.
Okay. All right. So tell us why the Minority Men's Health Fair. It's an important event that happens on an annual basis, and you've been able to continue this work at MetroHealth. Why are you staging this health fair?
Well, it's very important that we conduct this health fair. We call it the Minority Men's Health Fair, but in reality it's open to all men regardless of race, ethnicity. And actually, in fact, a number of women will actually take advantage of these free preventative health screenings for early detection of disease. The reason that we're trying to reach out and engage, in particular, men of color, African-American men, Hispanic, Latino men, and other minority men is because we have seen the data shows clearly that men of color, especially African-American men, have the highest incidence of a number of chronic health conditions, health disparities, health inequities, which culminate on average in about a 4 to 6 shorter year life expectancy compared to their white male counterparts. So it's critically important that we engage men of color to educate them about the importance of undergoing preventative health screenings. You know, a lot of men, for whatever reason, shun doctors, and we understand a lot of the reasons. A lot of it is because of historical distrust that many black men have towards doctors, hospitals, healthcare providers, based on the Tuskegee syphilis experiment and other, egregious actions. but there's a lot of fear and misconception also out in the black community in particular, that a lot of times men feel that they're going to be macho, they're going to be stoic as long as they don't have any significant pain, symptoms, that they feel that they don't need to get a health check or need to get screened for any particular conditions. But we're here to let the men know. We want to educate the men about the importance, for example, of screening for high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease, kidney disease, because a number of these conditions can be present in significant states and cause significant harm to the individual, and you may not actually have any signs or symptoms. In fact, most men, whom we diagnose with prostate cancer nowadays have no signs or symptoms whatsoever. So it's critically important that we educate the men, that we engage the men, and then we break down barriers that have prevented men from either seeking or acquiring quality health care and health screenings. And that's what it's all about. We're providing this free community health fair, Minority Men's Health Fair, Thursday, April the 28th, between the hours of 5 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. It's going to be at 3 simultaneous MetroHealth locations, our Broadway location, 6835 Broadway Avenue, Cleveland Heights Medical Center over at 10 Severance Circle, and our main campus in the outpatient pavilion on West 25th Street. No charge. It's all free. We're going to be doing over 30 health screenings, health evaluations from head to toe. We have every specialist represented and ready to serve the men. So this is an opportunity that men need to take advantage of and not miss.
Okay. So you mentioned that the screenings are free and you're screening for a lot of different things. In the course of doing the screening, they find out that there's something going on. What should they do following the fair?
Yeah, exactly. And that's a good point, because this is what really distinguishes our health fair from a lot of health fairs that may be out there. The goal of the health fair is not just to see these gentlemen on the day of the event, during this 3.5 hour period. We want to engage individuals for the long haul. We want to make people understand that it's important to establish continuity of care, to establish a relationship, especially with a primary care provider, an internist, a family medicine physician, for example. I always say every man should have a urologist. Urologists we're medical and surgical subspecialists who have particular expertise in men's health. For example, urologists are the ones who diagnose and treat prostate cancer, male reproductive issues, sexual health issues, and other conditions that oftentimes men deal with, voiding dysfunction, for example, enlarged prostate, non-cancerous prostate issues. So our goal is to engage these gentlemen for the long haul. Actually, at the health fair, we're going to have schedulers. We're going to ask the individuals if they would like to follow up, see a primary care provider or other specialist as need may be. However, our main message is you don't actually have to follow up with us. If you have already a physician, by all means, stay with that physician if you're comfortable with them. What we're doing is going to augment the care already being provided by physicians that they may already have. But quite frankly, a number of gentlemen that are going to be coming to the health fair have not seen a primary care physician or other physician during their adult lifetime or in years. And so we're just here to offer that opportunity for people to follow up. And we're going to have schedulers on hand, to financial counselors and others. The thing about MetroHealth is a community hospital with a mission, which is to serve the community. And we see patients regardless of their ability to pay throughout the year. So, again, we're encouraging people to follow up with a primary care physician. Doesn't matter at which institution, but we're available as an alternative, an option for people to follow up with us as well.
Okay. Dr. Modlin, could you give the listeners the website address that they can go to if they want to get more information in advance for the Minority Men's Health Fair?
Absolutely. So, very easy website. You can go to your search engine, Google, just www.metrohealth.org, and then /MMHF. MMHF stands for Minority Men's Health Fair. Or you can just type in MetroHealth Minority Men's Health Fair. It'll pop up. You can actually pre-register on that site. you do not have to pre-register. Most men actually do not pre-register. They just show up on the day of the event at one of the 3 locations. It takes literally about 60 seconds to register. Once the men register, they show up at the health fair. Then they're going to progress. We're going to actually be drawing or giving the option. Not everybody has to have their blood drawn, but we're going to be giving the option for men to have their blood drawn. We're going to be checking for prostate cancer with a blood test called PSA, kidney function, hepatitis C, vitamin D, cholesterol, HIV. We're going to be checking your vital signs, your blood pressure, your pulse. We're going to be checking your heart, your lungs, your eyes, your ears, your skin. I look at this as an executive level physical health evaluation.
Yes,
and you can get this done in a 3-hour period.
Okay.
Plus health education, health information.
Yeah, that's a lot to pack into 3 hours. But we want to welcome those who are in the listening audience. If you don't have insurance, don't worry about it. Show up and get those diagnostics done. So if there's something going on, you can be proactive about mitigating it. Dr. Charles Modlin, it's been a great pleasure to have you on the air, and we look forward to the fair taking place on Thursday, and that's April 28th. It's in a couple of weeks. Take advantage of it. Go to MetroHealth.org, and you can check out the information that you need. Dr. Charles Modlin, thanks for joining us on 360 Info Network.
Yeah, thank you very much. And free parking. So see you there.
All right.
All righty.
That's always a plus.
Thank you.
All right.
Yes, for sure.
Dr. Charles Modlin right here on 360 Info Network with Hamtonio and yours truly, Vince Robinson. We'll be back with another guest. He is Ibn Alameen Ali. He's going to give you some information about finances that you won't want to miss. Stay with us. This is 360 Info Network on AM 1490 WERE. Back 360 Info Network with yours truly, Vince Robinson and Hamtonio. We have been joined by Ibn Alameen. He's an experienced salesman, business coach, and mentor driven by the pursuit of economic empowerment through right thinking. He takes pride in providing the best mentoring possible. He's an innovative strategist coach for entrepreneurs, small businesses, and his goals include teaching people how to run their life as a business for the purpose of economic clarity, confidence, and cash flow. In addition to his primary job functions, Ibn Alameen has been recognized by his progressively developing community for his extraordinary commitment to financial education. His entity is called Mental Alchemy Consulting, and he just told us that he is in the DMV area. We are very happy to have him aboard this morning. Welcome, Ibn Alameen Ali.
Thank you, Vince. I appreciate that. And salute salutations to you and your listening community.
Okay. So the reason that we brought you on board today is because we understand that it is important to be physically well. It's important to be mentally and spiritually well. But one of the greatest obstacles that we face in our community is this whole notion of having our finances in order. And in the conversations that I've had with you, you've made it very clear that your mission is to empower people in our community by connecting them with education about finance. So in your bio, you talk about business development, but I'm sure along with that, there's also a great deal of personal development that has to take place with that as well. So why don't we just talk about what your relationship to the world of finance is and what's important to you in terms of letting folks know what they need to do to have their finances in order?
Absolutely. You're definitely right about that, especially in this time. We're dealing with a lot of different problems from, all various sorts, right? We have a lot of great technology, but we might not even know how to use it properly, to use it to our advantage, even in the world of finance. And one of the things that I find most interesting, just like you read from one of the things I find that's very interesting about how we think and having the proper mindset is it's probably much easier if you run your life like a business, even if you don't want to have one. I predominantly work with people who are either pre-entrepreneur or already small business owners. Maybe they've been starting something or been doing something for a considerable amount of time. But even in your personal life, you can you can run your life like a business. You can be what I like to call economically organized. You can know your numbers, right? These are, in essence, things that you pretty much know, but maybe you've never looked at it that way. And perspective and mindset is really key. So that's one of the most significant things that I want people to understand, that it's possible to do. It's not as complicated as you might think. And it's a great mindset to start to implement.
Okay. So in terms of the personal aspect of it, one of the greatest advantages that you have is, when it comes to taxes at least, is having a business versus the personal piece. So when you talk about operating your life as a business, is part of that that perspective based on the fact that there are greater tax advantages? And I'm not a tax accountant, but this is just what I understand.
Yes, there are. There's a great book that I recommend, and of course, this is all for entertainment and educational purposes as well. Tom Wheelwright wrote a book called The Tax-Free Wealth, and in the first page it discusses how on average, any individual spends about a third of their life paying taxes. A third of your life paying taxes. And we have heard this, whether you're watching CNN or social media, that the wealthy don't pay taxes. Well, because a lot of the tax code was written for or incentivizes small business or entrepreneurs to create value in the marketplace. And as they create value in the marketplace, they are incentivized with tax deductions. And so the business owner generally fares way better than the working class community. So you're absolutely right on that.
Okay. So can you be specific about what some of those advantages might be?
Yeah. So I had a great conversation as I was in the gym this morning doing my sauna meditation. And I was discussing with a gentleman we were discussing the workation. And that basically means that, let's say, for example, if you have a shop, I'm just using something generic. You have a Shopify store, maybe you're into digital marketing, and there's a conference in Texas or something like that, Texas, Nevada, California, whatever have you. It's in Myrtle Beach, Miami, Florida. And you want to be able to go to this event. When you go to this event for predominantly business purposes and you schedule it properly, we're not talking about any kind of last minute things. I'm talking about scheduling it at least anywhere between 90 to 60 days out in preparation to go to this event. Then you can write the event off. You can write the airfare off. You can write off your hotel stay. There might be some other accoutrements that you can be able to take advantage of, and you can go there and get educated. That's going to help you run and operate your business better. And it's a whole thing. We want to incorporate these kind of things into our lifestyle. I mean, that's a really pretty good deal. It's a really great deal that you could probably take anywhere between 3 to 4 workations a year through proper planning. And maybe you shoot content while you're down there. First day, as soon as you get off the plane, you shoot some content. Maybe you do a Zoom meeting, whatever have you, because even with the technology that we have, it's very easy to do and it's practical. So there are practical things. That's a very practical thing that an entrepreneur can do and get themselves educated.
You're giving me some ideas. I'm about to go to, you said Myrtle Beach. I'm going to Hilton Head in a couple of weeks, and I'm definitely going to do some shooting down there. I don't want to implicate myself in anything, but, it's
sure. Yeah.
Probably time to get strategic in terms of scheduling some workations right now because, cabin fever up here in Cleveland, man, it's a real thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And, yeah. Go ahead, please.
No, go ahead.
Well, it's funny, and it's funny you say that, but that's a very practical thing. Can you have a binder where you record the things that you have, the things that you're doing? Of course you can. Can you schedule it on an event calendar that you got from Target, Walmart, or Office Depot? Of course you can. You're creating a record. You are going down there for an intended purpose of getting yourself educated. You are going down there to network, but you're also going down there for work purposes. And with the influx of all the technology that we have, you've got your YouTube and your even your Snapchat and the TikTok and all of these different, I'll call them digital marketing distribution centers. You already have a record. You already have a digital record of you're doing this. And it just so happens that it does coincide with the code. It does coincide with the code. And you can use that to your advantage with good reason.
Okay. You mentioned the digital world and specifically social media. We are in the midst of a massive transformation of the world economic system, and a lot of it has to do with digital. Part of that digital landscape involves cryptocurrency. Can you talk to our listeners about the importance of understanding cryptocurrency and how they can benefit by ownership of cryptocurrency?
Oh, absolutely. Now, I will say that I'm pretty layman's, I'm pretty layman's when it comes to cryptocurrency, but I'm always learning more about it. But here's what I definitely will say, and this is not a solicitation for anyone to buy it. You should only invest whatever you can see fit to lose, of course. But I'll tell you what, I'll share my experience. And one of my experiences last year, I bought a course. And I bought a course to understand how to create a Coinbase account. That's generally popular. You might see that in advertising on your phone somewhere. And so I watched the videos and got my Coinbase account. And Coinbase has a card. And this is practical. Coinbase actually has a Visa card. So I bought a token called Ethereum. And it actually, over the course of this, even though this was last year, it actually started to go up. So the value of, I'll just give an example, $100 went up to $130. And the first time I ever went to go use the Coinbase Visa card was out at lunch at a place out here called Burton's. So I'm going to Burton's. I'm like, I'm going to try this thing out. And guess what? It worked. Well, what's so fanatical about that? Well, I just told you. I had $100 of, quote unquote, I had $100 USD that went up in value on the Ethereum side to $130 of value. If my meal was $20, was the meal free? In essence, it was. And I was still up $10. And that's a practical application with, of course, it's volatile. It is, and it does take a level of education, but it's worth learning about. We are in the digital landscape, and the landscape is changing very fast. And I'll tell you this, I do know this for a fact through some of my partnerships and strategic partnerships and people that I know who are way more in depth in the crypto space, is that from the corporate side, everyone is taking advantage of the education and knowledge. Generally, the average populace is not. They're on the cutting edge, and where many of us can be potentially left behind, right? And that's a huge. That's definitely can be an impending huge problem.
Well, yeah. As we have this conversation, banks are centralized finance, and then you have the world of cryptocurrency, which is both DeFi and centralized, because you have centralized exchanges and you have decentralized exchanges. But as we have this conversation, banks are looking at ways to create ways that they can hold your crypto for you. Now, you can hold your cryptocurrency in your own cold storage wallet, or you can have it in your own hot storage wallet, which might be an off-site website like Exodus or Gemini or some of those others. But there are ways that you can keep your money out of the banks, and at the same time, the banks are looking at ways that they can hold your cryptocurrency. But the real mantra is, he who holds it owns it. So if you can hold your own cryptocurrency in your own wallet, you can keep it out of harm's way. The banks, they're not paying you a whole lot of money for holding your money right now.
Right.
They're holding your money for, like, in the case of my account, and I'm not going to say the bank because I don't want to give them any free advertising, but
sure,
they're paying me 0.01% interest. In a year's time, with $1,000 in my savings account, I earned a whopping 12 cents. 12 cents.
Amazing.
Yeah, but
amazing, right?
I want to share with the listening audience the fact that we met last week, and I discovered that you and I are both involved in a passive income opportunity where we are literally making money while we sleep. And it's hard to keep this type of stuff a secret, when you're earning the way we're earning and, you're taking dollars and you're making them into something else. It's just such a beautiful thing. You don't want to keep it to yourself. So, we're gonna share these opportunities with others. I'm sure you will on your platform, and I will on my platform. Sure. But just want to open up the eyes and the ears of those in the audience that there are ways that you can literally make money on a weekly basis, and you really don't have to do a whole lot for that. I know that you're in this idea of developing businesses and also generating income streams in a passive way.
Sure.
Do you have any relationship to precious metals as part of a diverse portfolio for those who are interested in building generational wealth?
That is a really good question, Vance, and the answer is yes. I had a good buddy of mine who's part of a shared mastermind, if you will, in this area, in the DMV area. He introduced me to an organization that deals in just that deals in gold and silver. And they have an avenue for you to actually transfer what we call a lot of what, if anyone hears me talking from now and in the future, I often use the phrase what we call money. There's a reason for that, and there's not enough time to go through it in the now, but what we call money, you can transfer that into having a portfolio of gold and silver and actually get have physical gold, silver coins, bars, et cetera, et cetera. So definitely, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have even considered the space. I had heard the talks and keep my ear to the streets like a lot of us do, but it's really all about taking action, right? Having the do more principle and playing the what if game. I don't know about that, but what if I got involved in it just to see what would happen? And I really like to focus there. A lot of this stuff is really emotional. There's an emotional set point to what we call money. I just have a very open mind about these kind of things. Just play the what if game. What if I actually had a few coins? What if I took on, just try this opportunity out for 30, 60, 90 days, juxtaposed to what you were just, mentioning with the organization that deals in the decentralized crypto hedge fund. What if you did? What if you went ahead and maybe watched some YouTube videos? What if you started researching on blogs? Your life can be all the more the better. And then you started to take action, test it out, see what happens, right? That's probably one of the most important things, having a do more mindset and a do more principle and be willing to play the what if game. So, yeah, I do. Yes. And I want to get more. I want to get more silver.
Right. Well, I learned something in the past couple of days. As a matter of fact, I'll be facilitating a workshop after we do this broadcast. But the person that we're going to have doing the training in our workshop mentioned that you can actually take your fiat currency, that is your Federal Reserve notes, and then you can make a transaction at your bank that will result in the conversion of those fiat dollars into U.S. dollars that are actually backed by precious metals. So you can trade the fake paper money for the real deal within your bank, and the bank will actually hold your money for you.
That's a powerful thing, and you and I will definitely offline, get more involved in that. And that's something I didn't know, but I'm willing to play the what if game. What if I learned about what that opportunity is? On my end, I will share that the opportunity that was shared to me, they have something similar because they also have what's called it's a retirement account. It's an IRA retirement account that's actually backed by gold and silver. And, depending on where you come in at the spectrum, how important that could be, right? If we're talking about generational wealth, right? Your fiat currency is backed by something that's, it's off from having to deal with inflation, and then that can be handed down to your kids. There's so many things that you can do. Like you said, there's so many opportunities, but the principles are few and the methods are many. So just focus on the principle and get involved and test things out and see how you like it.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm glad that you brought up the retirement accounts, because someone very wise and close to me advised me that I should do a partial rollover of my 401k account. And, you know, you work for years to build up a 401k, and you think that it's your security blanket. It's that nest egg that's going to be there for you forever.
Correct.
But the real reality of 401k accounts is that, one, what you have earned gets eaten up by fees, because whoever's managing your account, they're skimming off 1 to 2%. So if you were earning 10%, you know, well, it ain't 10, it's 8. And then you have the issue of taxation. So whenever you take money out, they're going to take 20% off the top. But if you do a rollover into a precious metals retirement account, there's no cost for it, there's no taxation on it, and there is no distribution fee. So it doesn't really cost you anything. And what you're doing is the same thing that we mentioned in the previous example, where you're trading your fiat currency for real money. It's the same thing. When you trade your fiat currency vis-a-vis a retirement account and you move it into a precious metals account, now you have precious metals that have value, retain value, and also go up in value. What we're looking at right now is the fact that inflation has kicked in to such a great degree that you buy less with the money that you have. And at the other end, you have the increase in the money supply that's causing a devaluation of the dollar, so the dollars are actually worth less and they purchase less. So it's a double whammy there. And then when you add to it the fact that you've got taxation on top of everything else, and your money is worth even less. So the bottom line is, if you're not doing things, one, to increase what you have in terms of income, and two, to protect what you have in terms of assets, you're going to be looking down the road at some really dire situations. So that's why this education is so important. In terms of all the things that you're doing, what are you looking at in terms of protection of your assets? And I'm leading you down the path to into creating a trust or a number of trusts for yourself.
Okay. I'll and that's a really good question. I'll share this. One of the key things that I like to help people to understand is, and the first rule of money is make more money. That's the do more principle. And the second rule of money is understand in essence that there is no money, but there are negotiable instruments with rules. Do you know the rule of the tool? We've mentioned some of these rules of the tool. We've mentioned retirement accounts. We've mentioned, certain level of investments, but do you know how to effectuate them, right? So when it comes to protecting your wealth, I hyper-focus on teaching people how to do what's actually probably one of the most significant things, which is to buy time. And that's a mindset kind of philosophy and ideology. But I'll share this. You had a really great interview about a year ago with Wayne Keegong Chandler, and you guys had a really good discussion last year. You know, on your YouTube channel. It was phenomenal, and I'm very familiar with Wayne's work. And he had mentioned this movie called In Time with Justin Timberlake. And the construct of the movie, it's a phenomenal analogy, and I've used it a lot of times. Your goal with what you call money while you're working 40 hours or plus and you're doing side jobs or you're starting a business or building a business or operating a business, it's really to buy time to do what? Offset expenses that come every 30 days, right? So when you understand the mechanics of how money works or the rules of the tool or how credit works or credit leveraging works, when it comes to protection, I like to hyper-focus on cash flow. And to give you an analogy, I often start with the conversation with my clients or potential clients of taking your cell phone bill. Your cell phone bill is about, I'll just make up something, anywhere between $60 to $100 a month. And we're going to play the what-if game. If it's $100 a month times 12 months, that's $1,200 a year. And if you were to pay a $100 cell phone bill for 20 years, that would be a number, right? I think it's 24,000. Don't correct me, and I don't have a calculator. Well, here's the thing. as far as protecting your wealth, what if you had a monthly dividend stock portfolio that you were building over time to be able to offset the cell phone expense, in essence, perpetually? What if you understood Regulation A+ crowdfund offerings, because that's an alternative investment that came about during the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act during Barack Obama's administration. A lot of people don't know about what that is. In order to be able to be a part of what used to be accredited investing, or, people would do, an accredited investor, there's a definition for that. You have to make over, they've changed it, but in essence, you have to be extremely wealthy. I think you have to make over $1 million a year, or like $250,000. I think $200,000 for an individual, and it's like $350 for a married couple. But I could be wrong on the specifics. But the point is, the average person couldn't get involved in a lot of these deals. And what happened was, during the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, they made an addendum to the SEC regulations in Article 3 that allowed for corporations to allow for non-accredited investors to be able to take advantage of what accredited investors used to. And there's a lot of platforms out here. Like, I often recommend, so to speak, or, well, actually, that's not important. We won't go there, but learn about it, right? Learn about what Regulation A+ or CF offerings are. And what if you started to build a portfolio now today, even if you had a 401k that offsets a bill, and you started to work on that month after month, year after year. And now you never have to pay a cell phone bill because you've built a portfolio that does it. And then you move on to the next bill, right? What if you did that? What does that look like? What are the numbers? Do you know your numbers? So when it comes to protecting your wealth, a lot of it really deals with economic organization and your emotional economic threshold. Everyone has a different emotional economic threshold. And what I mean by that is what they think that there's what they think that they can do. And then they need to understand what's more realistic for them as far as things that they, could do. And maybe there's some things that they could do better. And so that's what I like to teach people, helping them to understand at first glance, just their emotional threshold, and going through this process of the what if experiment, go through this process of what if you had a portfolio that paid this bill? And what if you kept building that portfolio, and then it pays the next bill, and then it pays the next bill? And now you've been doing this since you're 20. You've been doing this since, I'm just make up something, maybe you're 22 and you actually start this process. But by the time that you're 32, you now have enough in your portfolio to offset a significant number of bills. Well, then you can move into what you're saying about perhaps creating a trust, right? Because you have more money.
Yeah, the point of it is that there are things that you can start doing now that will definitely put you in a better position in the future. And we're going to talk about a little bit of that when we get back. You're listening to 360 Info Network right here on AM 1490 with your hosts, Antonio, yours truly, Vince Robinson, and our guest, Ibn Alameen. He is a financial whiz, as he's showing you with what he's sharing with you right now. And we're going to get back to some more of this vital information when we return. 360 Info Network, AM 1490, WERE. Back in a minute. Welcome back to 360 Info Network. Vince Robinson here with Antonio, and our guest is Ibn Alameen Ali. He's in the Alexandria, Virginia area. He's right over there next to the nation's capital, a city that was brilliantly designed by our brother Benjamin Banneker. Most of us, well, many of us don't know that. There are quite a few of us that do know that, but great place to be right now, and you're kind of near the financial center in that our government is headquartered there, and they make all those decisions about our finances. But, we know who's really running the show, and that's the Federal Reserve Bank. But that's a discussion for another day. But since
that's another day discussion.
Yeah, since we're talking about banks, and during the break we were just talking about the benefits of something called staking. Tell the folks out there how they can benefit from staking and how it differs from what banks are doing with your money.
Oh, absolutely, man. Staking is a vocabulary term, and that's where I like to focus on the words. Each word creates an emotional vibration within us. If you've never heard of what staking is, staking in the crypto space is no different than putting money in a CD in the centralized banking space. You put money in a CD, okay? Most of us have had a CD. We at least understand that you're going to store a certain amount of capital for a certain amount of time and thus redeem a particular interest on said funds, right? Well, in the crypto space, they don't have CDs, right? They do what's called staking. So those two vocabulary terms are pretty much on the same spectrum. They're just in different spaces. What is the rule of the tool? The rule of the tool of staking is it's decentralized, and generally, you mentioned one of the apps. I think you said Gemini. Generally, your fiat currency can grow way more than what the banks are giving today. And you spoke on that as well. So instead of you getting 0.1%, 1%, that the centralized banking system says you can earn 1.25% APY. And you're like, yay, we might be talking about 3 times the amount, 4 times the amount, 5 times the amount from the decentralized side, right? Because what corporations are doing is they're using technology in the form of what we call these tokens to create community-based. It's more community-based. Back in the day when I used to get comic books, some people used to collect baseball cards, and I used to collect comic book cards. So when you think about a corporation, if they create a token, they're saying, hey, look, we have all of these things and we're doing all of these things and we have this token. You can buy this token and you can have this token and we'll give you 3-4x on your, they call it rewards, but we give you 3, 4, 5, 6 times X on your money. And they can do that because they already have the funds, and now they're just creating community around this thing that we call a token. But before crypto or decentralized, cryptocurrencies and technologies, there was really nothing that they could do. Maybe you get a hat, right? You get a hat, a sweatshirt, but the model is changing. And because the model of marketing and digital marketing and advertising is changing, corporations are just using tokens to do what they used to do. So, but you get to take advantage of it from an economic standpoint. That's what makes this stuff so powerful.
Okay.
And I hope that answered your question.
Yes, it does. There's just so much magic there. I know there's a platform that I'm involved in. They have a token, and they're paying you 12% APY to stake that coin. You're not going to get 12% at a central bank. They're just not going to do that for you.
Correct.
So it's just important. Brother Hamptonio, you had a comment that you wanted to make. I want to make sure we get that in before we close the show.
Yeah. Basically, that we as people, we really have to think globally. I think when we're dealing with finance in this kind of climate that we're in, we have to think global. Like Warren Buffett and all the rest of them. They deal with stocks and day trading, and also looking at other currencies and stuff to invest in. But, just some of the normal things that we need to start paying attention to, you can make money. Just say, hey, I know it's a tragedy right now. Just give you an example, what's going on in Ukraine. But guess what? Somewhere down the line, they're going to rebuild Ukraine. So with a little research, you might want to dump a little money over there and see what companies over there are shipping the rebuilding capital and items over there to deal with it. When they was talking about getting into a fight, gas prices was going to go up and oil. If we stay more in tune to current events, and that's how Warren Buffett did, to what's going on around the world and paying attention, and not always to LeBron James and the like, and the reality TV shows, you can see where to move and dodge your coin. And then also investing in taking those U.S. dollars and, and avoid that inflation and invest in some other countries that are doing some stuff where your money is 5, 10, 15 times more than and you get more mileage out of it. So keep it open.
All right. Brother Alameen, for those who are interested in reaching out to you and taking advantage of what you have to offer, how can they get to you?
Oh, absolutely. In the time being, definitely just shoot me an email at IBN at moneymatrixblueprint.com. That's IBN at moneymatrixblueprint.com. And, I'd be looking forward to helping some people out. I mean, this stuff is really very important. We're on the precipice of a massive economic caste system kind of going on. Most of us kind of see it. And if you don't want to be a part of the permanent underclass, you're going to have to get educated. You're going to have to get educated from all over, like really dive in, right? Dive into getting your education, dive into finding out what your money pathology is, and take advantage. Take advantage of what I like to call the 3 banks. Master the standard banking system, master that, credit cards, velocity banking, getting out of debt faster, auto loans, mortgages. Get into understanding the centralized banking space. And if you like that and you do have vision to create or formulate a business, even if it's just a media company and you're already on YouTube, if you're on YouTube or using social media, you should have a media company and you can take advantage of some of these rules that I was talking about, like Cafe Rule 125 or having workations, and incorporate that into your system. 3 banks.
Okay. So the bottom line here is that knowledge is power, and if you want to connect with that knowledge, reach out to Brother Ibn Alameen. Plug yourself in and change your destiny. Thanks for joining us on 360 Info Network, brother.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Don't forget, coming up in June, Brother Hamptonio's got a plethora of things for you to be connected to, and you can reach out to him at 216-323-6155. That's 323-6155. Any footnotes you want to add there, Brother Hamptonio?
Yeah, let's just get involved and let's take control of this, June and make it ours, and do some, power enhancement during that month.
All right. If you would like to connect with an opportunity to earn passive income, I'm just going to let you know you can text cash flow. That's cash flow to 216-780-2470. 216-780-2470. Just text me 216-780-2470. And I will connect you with an opportunity to earn money while you speak or while you sleep. Also, don't forget, coming up at Larchmere Arts on the 23rd of April at 7 o'clock, you'll be able to come in, and we're going to have the $100 Neo Soul Poetry Slam. Get in where you fit in, walk out with $100. You can Cash App TAJSOULPOET to get your tickets or to get your spot on the roster to do battle. So that's coming up next Saturday. Don't forget, we'll be at Rudy's the next day. Got a lot coming up for you at Larchmere Arts and other places in Cleveland and around the world. Thanks for joining us on 360 Info Network. Thank you to our engineer, Tristan Sanchez, my brother. You pull us all together, you make us sound good, and we appreciate that. And we appreciate you for listening. Know yourself, love yourself, be yourself, make today your best day. Peace.
Peace.